Hello, and I'm your host, Stephen Downs, for this Town Talk special as we talk about Huddersfield Town and everything in the town world. Once again, I'm joined by my right-hand man, Mr. Kane Hall. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. I just managed to get a few more bits of my tea down me while that little intro was going on. So I'm over the moon with that. I'm over the moon, Steve. I'm happy with that.
Good man.
Well, here we go. Steve's internet's down again on the live stream just as we start. There he is, back here. Here he is.
I'm back here. I'm back. I hope it.
I hope it. Actually, when you asked me to come on here.
I know. I hoped it would be as well, mate. But there we are. Am I back again now?
You're back, mate.
Hello.
Yeah, back.
All right, cool. Anyway, let's crack up. Let's crack on with the show. Please do get your comments in, your likes, and share the video as ever. And let's have a good chat about all things Town. Town drew 2-2 with Blackpool at the weekend. I was there. I enjoyed some fish and chips and definitely an evening of Phoenix nights in one of the lovely pubs in Blackpool after the game, I have to say. But yeah, the football, we were there to watch the football. The first half, as I said on the Monday show in my very, very quick review, if any of you caught it, the first half not so good. The second half much better. Let's talk about it in much more detail. Okay, we go 2-0 down. The first goal is just absolutely horrendously defended. And so is the second goal. But let's talk about the first goal first. Just cuts inside from the right-hand side, dips in, goes past two or three players, shoots, and, Chapman has to do better with that first goal, I think.
I think the most important thing out of this is, Steve, did you get me any rock or fudge like I asked?
I did get you some rock, mate. Yep.
That's all I needed to know.
Sticker up coming your way on Saturday, my friend. I've got some different flavours as well, so I'll send you a photo afterwards and you can decide which you're going to get.
What an absolute legend. Right, now we've got the most important thing out of the way. We can try and do a podcast.
Okay.
Disappointing, obviously, to go down 2 goals. Very, very disappointing. That first one, you've just mentioned what's happened. You say maybe Chapman could have done better, but in reality, why is Chapman having to do better? Why has it even got there in the first place? I thought the defending was really weak. Last time, when Town played at home against Blackpool, I thought Blackpool absolutely dominated. Made it look like boys just went down the channels, and it's exactly they did it again. And we're going to come on to a big factor of what's now missing at the back for Town, and we'll come on to that at some point. But that was just way too soft. Were they afraid of giving away a free kick? And I just don't understand, Steve, but it was soft. It were like men against boys, which we've said before, not once in the season, but against Blackpool before, against other opposition, and it happened again. It's a disappointing where they're on this unbeaten run, which is absolutely brilliant. Look, let's take nothing away from this unbeaten run.
Yeah,
but we've said it for a long time. I've said it for a long time. Michael does start saying it as well. That Town are getting results, not performances, and it is a results-based game for Michael Duff. He wants to keep his job. The chairman wants to go up. Most people want to go up. You're going to have to get results. You're going to have to grind them out.
Yeah.
And when you're only just getting results, if you're not getting a performance, you're going to have halves like that. You're going to have moments like that. You're going to have games like that where it is just so poor. And at this level as well, inconsistent. So inconsistent at this level. That's just quality-wise, But you've got to be up for every game, and I just don't feel as if in that first half Town looked up for it.
We could tell very often. Obviously, you sat at the side on Blackpool, so you get a good view of the pitch rather than seeing it just from one end. And what was very clear early on is, and they did it in the first game, the John Smiths as well, to be fair, they came down the sides and they used their two wingers, Hamilton I forget the other lad's name, but he was very good as well. Tall, sort of wiry winger. And they used the ball really well and got it into, behind our fullbacks. Obviously, Karoma playing on that left to start with, and on the right-hand side, which, we were a bit more protected, but still getting in behind us. And you had, Matty Pearson, who's not the quickest, going up against Hamilton. And on the other side, you had Tom Lees going up against their other quick winger. So it was quite clear Blackpool's plan from the beginning, and that's where all the first goal comes from. But it was a bit embarrassing that he got to basically the middle of the box, or level with the middle of the box before he shot. And I think, the 2,000 Town fans, and by the way, we made a hell of a noise on the day, but I think we were all a bit in shock, to be honest, because we didn't expect, Blackpool to be coming out the traps like that. They've not been in great form. I went on the Blackpool podcast earlier in the week, and they were expecting the worst. And so it kind of shook everybody up, and then particularly for them to get the second so quickly afterwards. I thought it was going to turn into a real bad day for us on the day, Kane. I'll be honest.
Steve, how many times have I said it's easy to beat Town? By going down the channels, hitting the channels. But for some reason, teams don't do it. It's like they see Huddersfield Town and they go, well, this is a big club, they're on an unbeaten run. That's dangerous doing that. Why is it? The Blackpool have done it twice to us.
Bruce has definitely got Duff's number on that specific tactic. 100%. Well,
Bruce has got a bit of kahunas about him to do it. That's the difference. No other team is really looking at doing that, or the teams that have done, they've been successful. But for some reason, teams don't want to do that, Steve. Teams don't want to do that. It's like they've got too much respect for Huddersfield, and they've gone, oh, look at this club. They've come down from the Championship. They're in the Premier League a bit ago. They've been spending some money beforehand. They spent some money in January now. We can't play up against them. We can't try and win this game. Of course you can. Look at Blackpool. Have done it. Look now. Helica's gone, which we're going to come on to. It's going to be over the next few weeks. It's going to be a little bit easier to try and beat Town by doing that simple crossfield ball into the channels. Okay, Brodie Spencer is a young player. We know this. He had a fantastic game at the weekend, but defensively, he's got to do better for that first goal.
Yeah, 100%.
He keeps picking up bookings all the time, though, because he's so irrationally, so erratic with the way he plays. And don't get me wrong, at times it's great, and he's a good player, but he's playing on the left side of the centre half again. It's not his position, so you're asking him to do a lot. I know it sounds stupid, but if he's a right back, his position is a right back. To defend at left centre half position in a back three is completely different to how you would defend at right back.
Yeah, so and actually in the second half he played a lot better because he was at the wing back position. So he kind of he did. I don't think he felt that pressure as much defensively to pick up, go in hard in some of those tackles and stuff like that. He was definitely more improved in the second half.
It's a completely different way of playing. If there's not many players that can play out wide and through the middle. Most of the time, you're one or the other, because it's a completely different dynamic. We're seeing a lot of these wingers now who come in and play a number 10 role or play a striker's role. Most of the time, they're drifting off out wide. I mean, our greatest example, one that we talk about on the pod all the time, is Danny Ward.
Yeah.
He came through as a winger?
Yeah.
And wow, how much better does he look when he's actually playing out wide? Because it's a completely different game of football. Even I know from my own perspective, through the middle, play centre half, centre mid, striker, whatever. Play out wide, no, can't do it. It's just a completely different dynamic. So you're asking a lot from an up-and-coming player who's been criticised for the way he makes tackles, how many bookings he gets to do a job out of position. And there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. And look, at the end of the game, he's had a fantastic one. But that's a lot of pressure on him there. And like I say, he's got to do better, but so has everybody else. You've got to rally around and help each other out defensively.
No, nobody had a good game in that first half. Not one single player had a good game, and we started slow. The half got worse. I'll be honest. The more we tried, and you could tell. I'll be honest. The only lads that looked like they were not putting effort in, but like they were trying to make something happen and probably forcing it a little bit much were the two new lads, Charles and Taylor, which I know that we're going to talk about as well, but. Nobody of the regular players that have been here, nobody had a good game. Now, we talk about the second goal. Bloxham, who's just gone in at Blackpool, who played us earlier in the season for Bristol Rovers, didn't look that good in a Bristol Rovers shirt. But in a Blackpool shirt, in a much better side, he looked a very handy, decent player. He was getting about, making tackles. It clearly... Bruce wants everything to kind of go through him, and that kind of happened. And I'll be honest, every second ball that went to him, and I know he's 6'3", but every second ball that went to him, neither Kane or Hodge got absolutely nowhere near him. And I've liked Herbie Kane this season. I think he's done really well in a lot of the games. Joe Hodge, we've not seen as much, but to neither of them to get anywhere near one player in the Blackpool midfield was very disappointing, I have to say.
Well, yeah, but spoke about this. There's a lot of tired legs in there, having to do a lot of work. Joe Hodge just coming back from injury. He's only been allowed so much time on the pitch, so he's not sharp enough yet. Herbie Kane's been working so hard. Benoit's been working really hard. They've not had a rest. Yeah, they've got to do better, but they're missing someone just behind them who might actually have been able to help them out a little bit more than what happened at the weekend. So, again, there's a lot of players adapting there. And Blackpool could have actually had 3 in that first half. Brody Spence makes a great clearance off the crossbar and off the line before that second goal comes in. But they just looked a little bit all over the place in that first half. And, Michael Duff says he doesn't give them a rollick or anything like that half time. It's more constructive, which is great. But I'm sure there was probably a bit of a tone in it as well because, as you mentioned, Steve, completely different side in the second.
Yeah, just want to touch on again that second goal as well. And I did want to ask you about this. Obviously, you've coached and you sort of been around the game a bit now. When Wiles plays that ball, and listen, Wiles in the second half was a totally different player. Honest to God, it was like watching Jekyll and Hyde. But in that first half for that second goal, when it's played round the corner to him, he's tried to play it back to, I think, Ollie Turton, who's going to go down the wing. Now, if that ball comes off, we're out of that corner and we're on a breakaway because definitely Charles and Taylor were a lot quicker than their centre-backs. But it didn't go right. And then because Wiles is out of position and Turton's out of position because he's gone, they've left Matty Pearson all alone with a tricky winger who gets beat, all ends up. And the cross comes in and it ends up in a goal. I mean, does Wiles need to be a bit cuter there? Does he need to be more? Does he need to be cleverer? Does he need to think, what's the percentage chance of playing that ball through that very small gap?
I would look at it from a defensive point of view. I think players like Wiles, you've got to have a bit of freedom to go forward, make passes like that.
Yeah.
Which I've not got an issue with. Don't get me wrong, I think at times there's got to be a time and a place. Whereabouts you're doing it on the field, don't get me wrong. I prefer to have as much freedom as you want in the final third. Middle third, okay, 50-50 with your decisions. Your own third, don't be stupid. Now, when that ball actually gets crossed in for the goal, where's Ollie Turton?
Well, he's already gone down the wing because he's expecting the ball back.
Jogging back.
Yeah.
It's a jog. You don't win games by jogging. You don't
No.
get promoted by jogging. Michael Duff will say it, and it's quite obvious for most teams that go and win promotion or go win leagues, whatever, win games. You build on your defense. That's your foundation. Learn to defend as a unit, defend as a team, and then you can work on everything else. If I don't see a player working back, sprinting, don't bother playing. You aren't going to win a game. If you're just jogging back and going, "Oh, my teammate, I'll deal with that. I'll just stroll back here. Yeah, I'll be fine." That's not team spirit. Like you cannot build something out of that. You have to be sprinting back. Yes, so what? Your teammate's messed up a pass. He's not done it on purpose, but he's going to work hard to get that ball back because he knows he's done wrong. So go and help him out because he's your teammate. Don't just jog back. Now, Ollie Turn, for me, I've never been a fan, in all honesty, but I do think he's a steady player and he'll do a job when you need him to. He's not going to be exciting. He's not going to be terrible. He's going to be a 6 out of 10 for you. But I want to see you sprint back, help out your teammate because he might have scored. If he'd have come back and helped out, they probably wouldn't have scored. So I want to look at that as more defensive point of view, Steve, because I need my players back. That's how I'm looking at it.
No, I thought it was an interesting goal to concede from a tactical point of view. Let's go in through some comments. Cheers for those getting in touch. Mark Harrison, always getting in touch. Thanks you very much, mate. Our first half performance are regularly poor. That is true. What did you think is the main reason for this? And he's also said Bolton are there to be got at, and I hope we can have a quick start on Saturday. Get the agenda early. We've also got one from Terrier 930, also regular contributor. Thank you very much for getting in touch. Be putting Nichols back in next Saturday against Bolton. Bloody typical. They've sacked their manager. That is also true. How many times has this happened? And also Joe Jenkins. Nice to see you, mate. Big fan of the show. Thank you very much for getting in touch. He's not a big fan of Wales. But he is a very loyal Town fan. So just before we touch on the second half, because I think it is important that we talk about that as well. Obviously, why do you think that we do start games slow, Kane? What is the reason for it? Because it has happened a number of times.
This is going to sound bad, and I kind of hope the club don't watch this because I don't find Michael Duff very inspiring. I can't see before a game.
That's the end of the stream.
Because we get to half time and he comes up with something to make them work a little bit better. So what's happening before a game? You know, that's what I'm looking at. And I hope I'm completely wrong. I genuinely really hope I'm completely wrong. I hope it's the players that aren't getting up for it, you know, because coaching is all about enthusiasm. And I'm sure he is. I'm sure I have no idea about what he's like in there. I'm sure he's fantastic. But is that it? Or is it the players going into games thinking, we'll be all right. This will be all right. Look at us. We're unbeaten in so many games. We're towards the top of the league. Who are these? Easy. Because it could be that. It happens. Players say, we don't look at the league. What a load of. They do.
Because they do.
They do. Players look at the league. Players know what's going on. They look at scores. They aren't stupid. All right? Any player that tells you they don't look at a league or don't look at results going on, they're a liar. They'll just lie into your face.
I think when players say that they don't look at social media, I think that's a load of rubbish and all.
Yeah, of course it is.
To be honest, you can't escape it.
Yeah, they all know what's going on. And it could just be that case that they're turning up to games thinking it's going to be easy and they're going to win. So maybe something else needs to be looked at differently and how to turn that around and go, actually, boys, no, it's not. Because if I'd be going, look at your results. Yeah, you're not that good. You're not winning. You're not winning all these games. Yeah, you're unbeaten, but how many times have you been losing and then had to come back from it? Turn up to the game like you're going to be like you're the best team around, and then you are going to beat them. when you got promoted.
Thank you also for Rivet Head. He comments, what leaders do we have on the pitch against Blackpool in the first half? Tom Lees is not a leader. Hogg comes on and we score 2 in 3 minutes. Well, we're going to speak about Hoggy, but yeah, let's speak about the second half. Obviously, Evans comes on for Herbie Kane and Hoggy comes on for Joe Hodge. Joe Hodge, I could understand more because obviously he's only come back. Interestingly, he's only played 60 minutes in both sort of games that he's played so far. Blackpool, it was only 45. The right subs, I thought, but then again, you could pick any of the players behind the front two to come off. And yeah, I mean, Evans particularly. Before we touch on Hoggy, but Evans particularly, Kane. I mean, that's probably the best I've seen him in a Town shirt this season because he came on, made an immediate impact. You know, started running the midfield, was very physical, winning balls and making creative passes happen, and probably took a little bit of pressure, which you could see, off Ben Wiles not being the only man trying to create something.
Well, yeah, that's his kind of role. You know, he's got a good structure about him. You know, fairly tall as well, so he's an imposing figure on the field. So you expect that from him, and we've kind of expected that from him since we signed him. But obviously, with that toe injury, that weird toe injury that he's had, he's been struggling a little bit. So now he's fit. He's got an opportunity to show what he's about. Look, injuries happen, right? But also injuries happen. So is there something a little bit more behind the scenes with this one? And is he coming back and trying to play for a move? Or is he genuinely back fit and ready and wanting to do this with Huddersfield Town? Hopefully that one. But obviously you just never know because injuries like that. I mean when Danny Warder injured last year until Neil Warnock came back. And he wasn't going to play again and then he got a contract. So again, stuff like this happens. So Evans coming back with the quality that he's got, he's probably watched that first half and thought, what am I doing sat here? I want to be out there. I want to change things. I've got nothing to lose. The lads who were out there were poor. If we lose this game, it's not on me. So I can play with freedom. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
He played with that freedom, tried to do this, tried to do that, wanted to be doing something a little bit different, and it worked for him. You know, and that's now the competition that we've got in midfield. Hodge, obviously, he's got to manage his minutes because of Wolves. It's that simple. You have to manage his minutes. Herbie Kane, tired. Ben Wiles, tired. So having two fit midfielders to come on and just change it up for a little bit for 45 minutes, exactly what Town needed at half-time. They needed them changes.
Yeah, I felt the last two games, actually, since Kasumu's been out, we've missed Kasumu's energy in midfield, and Evans definitely brought that back at the weekend in the second half. The cross that he gets in, he works really hard to get down there. All right, it's a hit and hope cross into the box. You know, he's not pinned anybody out there, but he does get it in. He gets it back in the mixer, as the Wimbledon players used to say. And Joe Taylor's touch. I mean, let's just talk about that touch. Brings it down like a cushion and volleys it into the back of the net. I mean, somebody said here, Mark Harrison, he said, Taylor's touch and finish, something we have not seen from a Town player in years. And I agree. I think that finish, you know, that quality, we probably haven't seen since Carlin Grant was at the club, who's got the audacity and the bit of attitude to finish like that. Absolutely superb, Ken.
That's it. I mean, why is he shooting? Why is he shooting at that angle?
I don't know, but
this is what I mean.
I'm glad he did.
Yeah, obviously. As a coach, you go, what are you doing? Why are you shooting from there? What are you doing? Your back's to goal. You're on half angle. You're falling over. Lay it off to somebody. Let them have a shot. Not Joe Taylor. I mean, I was astonished when it went in. Absolutely superb finish. But he's got some balls to take a shot. We haven't got anyone who's got the balls apart from Marshall. And, you know, Marshall doesn't always get in them positions where he can take them kind of shots. But Joe Taylor has. fantastic touch, as you say, especially in the box. Which also don't forget how many players Town actually started to put in the box as well. That's a
Yeah,
big. That's so key. Again, we've mentioned on it before about getting the players in the box and how that helps. But to take that touch, turn, finish, just a shame he couldn't celebrate it properly in front of them Town fans.
Yeah, well, no, but that's what kind of I did like, though, in one sense, that it wasn't. He's clearly got an ego attitude about him, which is good. You need that as a striker. All best strikers have that. That's obvious to say. But when he finished it and it went in, he was kind of like, right, let's go get another one. I'm not gonna waste time, celebrating. Let's go get another one. Let's get back in this game properly and see if we can go on and win it. To me, that's been a real team player. That's what that showed.
That tells me he's got a bit of sense.
Yeah.
In all honesty, if a player celebrated a goal like that when they were 2-0 down, I'd be disappointed. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah. I mean, what from obviously because I was there, the touch and finish is quality. The fact that he went toe to toe with a centre half that's twice his size and wanted to have a go at him, and the fact that he was sensible in his celebration tells me he's got everything about him to be a class Town player.
Yeah, look, we've only seen him for one game so far in a Town shirt. There's a lot more to improve, but he got the goal out of nothing in a sense, really. Because I look at the way the ball's come in and the touch, I'm thinking he's got to lay that off to somebody, but he hasn't. He's turned around, he's taken the shot, fantastic goal, and it was. But yeah, there's still more to come from him. I don't want to judge him yet, but he ain't afraid to put himself about. He's quite a physical boy. You can see that about him, which is so key. You have to be physical. And I thought Dion Charles as well were really physical in that game because we have been so soft up front. Marshall, bless him. Like I say, bless him because he tries to be physical, but he's not. But he tries.
He's just not that player, is he? He's not that player.
No, he's not built for it yet. He could do with spending a lot of time in the gym and build himself up because he can be a physical player. Danny Ward, soft as. Bojan Radolovic, soft as. I mean, I'm not going to get into Freddie Ladapo, but Town have just been bullied by defenders for a lot of the year, and this is why we've seen Evans score early on in the year, Wiles score, Kasumo getting on the goals. Because the strikers, the ball's not. It's never been sticking with them.
No.
It's always been lost when it's got up there. So the ball's coming back into their midfielders. They can do the job. But now it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be completely different for Town going forward. Joe Taylor, he'll rap for the ball. And he's got good physicality. Same with Dion Charles. He will battle and battle and battle. It's exactly what you need.
If he stays injury-free, Taylor, and God touch wood that he does, and once he gets up to speed, because he's only played 13 games in a Luton shirt now, most of them are only for like 5 minutes. So he's collectively probably not even played 2 90-minute full games this season. Once he gets up and running, I think he'd be a right player. I honestly do. I think we've signed a right player on his hands. And Dion Charles was good. Like you said, he battled away. I think just going quickly onto the partnership, you could tell in that first half particularly, well, pretty much for the whole game, but particularly in the first half, that our lads weren't used to the runs that both of them were making. And that's something that they're going to really have to work on the training ground and get good at it quite quickly, aren't they?
It's a great point, Steve, and it's one I probably should have mentioned earlier. But yeah, them two players don't know what they're doing in terms of what Town are asking them to do. So I actually thought it was a bit of a surprise that Marshall didn't start because at least you've got one player knowing what's going on. Marshall does deserve a rest, though. That's probably needed, but they've got to adapt very, very quickly of these two to understand the way that Huddersfield Town are trying to play. And as soon as they do that, then they will, it's going to help Town. I want to judge these two players once I've seen them play live a couple of times. That's what I can't judge anything yet. When you watch on the TV, you don't see all the runs. You don't see the battling. You only see parts of the game.
Yeah.
I'll give you a lot better judgment after I've seen both of them play a couple of games live. And
yeah,
I do think they've got to learn very quickly about the way Michael Duff wants to play football, which hopefully will suit them both as long as they get into the box and the balls are coming to the box. They've got to the ball has to beat that first man. Be that first man, town will be dangerous.
Yeah, and also they need to learn how each other are going to play because, you know,
100%,
at the clubs that they've been at, you know, when they've been playing regularly, they've been the main men. So they've probably made the very similar runs to each other because they're kind of similar in that sense. So one of them's going to have to maybe, you know, be the more battler, and I can see that being Dion Charles because he kind of likes that side of the game. I think they're going to be a good partnership, but they're just going to have we can't be expecting miracles straight off. I did expect Bojan to be up front with Taylor, I'll be honest, for the Blackpool game, and Marshall and Dion Charles to be on the bench. But I thought it was big of Duff to put them straight in. I thought it was a big call, and you know, all right, didn't really work in the first half, but it could, you know, look really special going forward. I do want to touch on Hoggy. Come on, like we said in the second half. You know, he's played not very many times this season. He's, you know, been coming off the bench. You know, he's 35. You know, he's a legend. You know, but every time it's becoming a bit of a running joke now with Town fans. Like every time people think he's done and he's over the hill and he's finished, he puts in a performance like he did at the weekend, and it's just like the old Johnny Ogg's back. I just think he's a consummate professional, Kane. That's what I think he is.
Oh, I love him. He's just great, isn't he? He's just absolutely fantastic. He's just what a guy. The way he looks after himself, by the way, he's just an absolute machine. He's still the fittest player at the club at 35, or however old he is. He's probably in the gym every day, running every day whenever he can. Look, the kid looks after himself. He loves being at the club. He says it. And when he says it, I genuinely believe him as well.
Yeah, I do as well.
I believe that he does like being there. I mean, everyone loves being a professional footballer, but he generally loves being at the club. And he has got a lot of quality. This kid has played in Premier League. You know what I mean? And he's in League One now. And he's still got it. And even when we're in Prem, I thought he was a good player back then. I don't think he looked out of place when Town were playing in the Prem, and I don't think he's looked out of place ever since. And yeah, he gets a bit of stick sometimes, but I also think sometimes when you're playing in that role that he does, there's a lot of pressure on you. You are that one person who breaks up midfield defence, who breaks up the attacker's midfield from the opposition. There's a lot of ground to cover, and he tries, and he'll hit you hard. He'll hit you hard. His passing game, that isn't him as such, but you also got to think, what is he being asked to do? What is he being asked to do, and is everybody in the right position for him to do so? So if he makes a misplaced pass, I'm like, okay, maybe that will poor. The second time it goes, well, why aren't they there? Because if he's been asked, because I look at Hogg and I go, he does exactly what he's being told. He don't go rogue. He don't go rogue, does he? I mean, he takes 3 shots a season, if that. I think he's actually taken 3 shots ever since he's been at the club.
Yeah, and he's only ever
he's been at the club.
Well, he's been at the club 10 years, and I think he's got 4 goals. I think.
All right, he's had 4 shots then. Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't go rogue. He plays nice, neat football that he can, and the attitude that he has is just unbelievable.
He has no. I mean, he's never had any fear when he goes into tackles. But even at the age that he is now, no. I mean, the weekend in the second half. I mean, when we scored the second goal after Spencer, I mean, we know how pumped up he can get. But my God, in the first 30 seconds, there was this lad who were running through, I know you just took him out brilliantly, by the way. He won the ball and everything. But it was just like, right, we scored 2 goals. We're back in this. I'm going to be the man on the pitch that leads us to hopefully 3 points. All right, we didn't get it. But the other thing that I would say is, I think if it had been 10 minutes left, I think we'd have been the side that would have gone on to win it.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Town were pushing all the way through that second half. But, yeah, he is a leader. He's a club captain for a reason. He's got it all, hasn't he, really? And, yeah, okay, he's getting older and he'll probably be thinking about when is he ready to retire. I hope he don't retire. I hope he plays on until he's like 63. And I hope it's for Huddersfield as well. And I hope he's club captain for that long because he's just epitomises everything that you want in a player. Yeah. No, he's not the tallest, but he'll go and win you more headers than some others will.
Cat needs to learn off him for me. He needs to learn off him.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can learn because a lot of that is raw hungerness, if that is even a word. Because of that's just hoggy. That's just raw hog. That bite to get back, and he's like I say, he's not the fastest. He'll still get there. Ain't the tallest. He'll win that. Not a goal scorer, but when he shoots, he scores.
Yeah,
he's got it all, and superb to have him back. Really is good to have him back.
Let's move on to. We spoke about the 2 new lads that have come in. Obviously, Ruben Ruskin's, I think, back for the Bolton game, or he could be one more. Is it? It's 3 games, so I think he's not back for this one, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it sounds like we're done in the transfer window for the moment. Kevin Nagel did a diary 2 days ago, and basically hinted at the fact that Town had done. There's been a number of outgoings so far. We talked about them last week. Don't really need to go back over them because they're not big ones. But Michael Hellick has moved to Oxford. Been a lot of chat and debate about whether that's a good thing for Town or a bad thing. Listen, I'll give my view and then Kane can give his. My view is Michael Hellick has been a good goal scorer for Town. He's played 100 times and he scored 13. He's played 100 times and he scored 13 goals. And he scored goals in big games for us, by the way. You look back at the 13 goals, half of them have come in relegation battles and needing to get 3 points. He's been a great servant for the club. He didn't want to be here in the summer, but he wasn't going to be one of those players that was going to push for a move. They clearly came to an agreement to say, look, if a championship club comes in and pays the price that they want, then we'll sell you. And he was wanting to go. But they weren't going to sell him to a League One club. And I was pleased with that because in the past, you even go back 30 years, what we did with Marcus Stewart, sold him to Ipswich. Look how that worked out. So for me, I think we've got enough cover in that centre-back defensive position. Ollie Turton, all right, we've talked about him, not the best. Josh Ruffles comes in, does a job, probably not the best. Not somebody you definitely want week in, week out playing in that position. But they can do a job, and they can do a job particularly against the worst teams in this division. So I don't think losing Michael Hellick is the biggest and most massive blow that could happen to us. I also don't think if Lee Nichols went, I don't think now that will be the most biggest and massivest blow to ever happen to us. 12 months ago, yeah, but not now. And what I also think is that, Spencer's come along, Pearson's still got it, Tom Lees has still got it. All right, the goal at the weekend was not great to concede, but I don't, even watching them back, I don't think Michael Hellick stops both them goals because it was just bad defensive error and shape for me. So losing Hellick is a loss. Of course it's a loss. He's a quality player. But I don't think it should deny or should sort of rule out our window. Listen, we've got Dion Charles and Joe Taylor. If you're asking me at the start of the window, we either keep Hellick and we don't sign the 2 strikers. We sign the 2 strikers and sell Hellick. I'm going for that option all day long. Ken Hall, take it away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go for that option as well, Steve. Would Hellick have made a difference at the weekend? Yeah, it would. You mentioned shape there. When you've got your leader, the man who's been playing through the middle or the back three, he organises everything. Lose that, you're going to lose some shape. Then you've got to find someone who is going to be that leader in the middle. I don't know who it is yet. So
Matty Pearson or Tom Lees needs to step up then.
Yeah, one of them does. But who is the right one? Because I like Pearson on that right side. If obviously Michael Duff has his way of playing, Matty Pearson is better on that right hand side. Tom Lees is a bit slow with the ball. Yeah, he's good. He's solid. He's solid as ever. You get 7.5 out of 10 every week from him. You know what you're going to get. But he's a little bit slow with that ball. Spencer is not a centre half. He's a fullback. So they're three players, and one of them's out of position. Ain't none of them playing through the middle. Balker comes back like a new signing. So potentially you have covered Hellick going, which is absolutely fine. And I think that was kind of a conversation in the summer as well. It was going to be one of them that was going. The club have made the right decision to keep them both until January, despite Balker's injury, and they needed to because of Balker's injury. If he can stay fit, I like him. He's a fantastic centre half from what I've seen so far. Really good on the ball, great pace for a centre back as well, and loves a challenge. Clearly loves a challenge because he keeps getting injured.
There were one run, by the way, against Blackpool, and he ran. The Blackpool players obviously going as fast as he could, and Balker just runs round him, nicks the ball off him, and plays it back to Chapman, cool as you like. It was just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's brilliant, mate. He is. I do. From what I've seen, I like him. But Hellick is always going to miss. You mentioned the goals. Centre half scoring. We're top scorer last year. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year. Yeah, last year.
Top scorer.
10 goals.
Half.
Yeah,
it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And look, I think he should go away. Everyone's blessing Huddersfield Town, and no, he's not been here for a long, long time. But he's been at the club enough time to make a good impact, a very good impact. And you got to wish him all the best. And him at Oxford scoring on his debut, beating Luton 3-2, Gary Rowett in charge. They'll stay up. They will stay up. Oxford won't go down with Hellick and Gary Rowett there. They've got some good players too. So fair enough. Go and do it. His wages were cut in half because he got relegated. Go and earn some money, kid. It's probably not going to be a great deal more, but you're playing at the Championship. Go enjoy it and do it with a blessing because you were a top goal scorer last year, and that says a lot about your performance as a centre half.
Yeah, listen, I didn't want him to go. Like I did, when I saw it come through, I was like, "Oh, that's a loss." Yeah, obviously you're going to think that. I didn't want us to sell him, but he wasn't going to sign a new deal. So, what do you want the club to do? Do you want them not to make any money off him? Like, end of the day, we've bought Dion Charles, paid 750 grand for him, probably rising to $1 million. I probably think, and nobody's come out and said this, but I probably think they've sold Hellick for very similar money. So, what's the biggest problem that we've had this season? Scoring goals or being defensively solid? The biggest problem has been scoring goals.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Look, you're right. Everyone's going to be sad to see him go. Nobody wants to see him go because the push for promotion would have been a lot stronger with him there. But you've just got to put the trust in Balker being injury free and him being at the back. I mean, I don't have much faith in Longvic. I think he's League One average. That's his best.
Well, I forgot about him when I named all the defenders. I forgot about him.
You forget about him because he's a forgettable player.
No, I forgot about him because he was injured. But yeah, I know that you're not a fan of his.
No, because he's a bang average League One player. He makes too many mistakes for my liking. If you want to push for that promotion place, he makes too many mistakes. And I probably was very harsh on him there. But he's going to do you a job. for the majority of the season, but he ain't going to take the place of Hellick.
No.
I don't see Pearson taking the place of Hellick. I don't see Lees taking the place of Hellick. The only person I see doing that is Balker, but he needs to be fit very quickly. But they've got to ease him back.
So do we need to buy a centre back?
Yeah.
This window?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at how many injuries Town have had. Look at the injuries that Town have had this year. Yeah, exactly. You're laughing.
No, I'm not. I think what you're saying is correct. Listen,
this is what I mean.
It's fact that his injury record is horrendous.
Yeah, Town need a squad, and I don't think they're strong enough at the minute at the back, squad wise.
But would you rather spend that money in the summer when? I'll caveat the word when we get promoted.
Yeah, if Town get promoted, it makes more sense to buy a good centre half. Then you're absolutely right. I mean,
and you can attract probably a better centre half once you're in the championship.
Yeah. Well, of course you can, but I just think another centre half would be needed, even if they go in the low market. But it needs to be quality.
Yeah,
it can't just be bang average League One. It's got to be championship quality.
I do think a little cheeky bid for Mads Anderson at Luton wouldn't be a bad shout. Although he did have a bad injury at the end of at the beginning of the season, but he's not really played for Luton, so why not? Why not? He's out of contract in the summer. Duff knows him, played him at Barnsley. Could be an option. Any other positions within the transfer window, Kane, or obviously you've probably seen what Kevin's had to say. I mean, it don't look like there's going to be anything more in unless they do want to go for a Hellick replacement. It looks like more outs than anything. Sober Thomas linked with Hull, and Josh Caroma's been linked with a move away as well. I mean, I could definitely see some more outs. 100%.
Yeah, get the wage bill down on players that are adding anything to you. We've mentioned it quite a few times, Steve, on the players that we think should leave on permanence and stuff. And yeah, Caroma needs to go. See ya. If Sorba wants to go to Hull, sound. Like I generally don't think there's anywhere else at the minute. It's just the injury problems that Town have had makes you worry because the squad has been decent. But we've got is it Eccleston's come back on loan from Barrow?
Yeah, and I just wonder, he was on the bench on Saturday, and I just wonder whether Duff put him on the bench to make a point that we do need to replace Hellick, or whether that's too conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I think you're thinking too much into that because I thought Neil Eccleston had a decent pre-season. He's gone out.
Harrogate, he was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's gone out. He's had some game time in League Two. He'll be pushing Ollie Turton. For me, I look at that and go, "Be careful, Ollie."
Yeah.
He looked very athletic.
He looked very athletic at Harrogate. He was one of the better players in that friendly.
Yeah, he is, and he's just young though. He's obviously just very young. But I'm looking at that and going, he's breathing down your neck now, Turts. You need to give me something. That's how I see it. Especially with their injuries back there. So, there's, like I said, there's many players that can go, but I don't think I don't think the club needs to make any more signings. If I'm honest with you, just need to stay injury free and suspension free.
Let's look at some comments. Jed, he's come in with a comment about Huggy. Amount of games tells you his attitude. Also, he bleeds the blue and white. And he also says we couldn't score in an Amsterdam brothel last season. Knocking shop, sorry. So, that's probably true. Pearson and Leeds, he also says Pearson and Leeds injury prone now, so we need to handle them accordingly. Yeah, that's probably true. Rivet Head says 365 games and counting for Huggy. I'd love to see him get to 400. I genuinely would. Like 400 games as a professional in any sport, but in football at a top level, like he's played, is absolutely outstanding. So I hope he can get to 400 games for one club, and maybe another loanee just to get us over the line, which I think you kind of said, Kane. So that Rivethead is agreeing with you on that one, my friend.
Great minds think alike.
Let's look ahead to Bolton and Birmingham this weekend. It's a tough week ahead. We're playing all the Bees, or we have done. Blackpool to start with now. Bolton on Saturday. They've just sacked Ian Evatt. Accordingly, I mean, I can't believe they didn't sack him beforehand, to be honest, because it's been an absolute, crap show at the Tough Sheet Stadium. You like what I did there, Kane, in mixing the anatomies there. But Everett's gone. It happens to Town so many times where they come up against teams that have just sacked their manager. I mean, they're going to be up for it now, Bolton players, aren't they? Now that he's out the door.
Yeah, because I don't think any of them liked him.
That's why Dion left.
I mean,
let's be honest.
He's a very strange character to get along with. I don't really get his football either. Who did he manage before Bolton? I can't remember. It was in League Two, and I watched him.
Yeah,
I watched him against Bradford City once, and I thought, this isn't any good.
Yeah, I can't remember, but apparently he swore at the fans at the end of I think the last game, and they even won the last game. They beat Charlton yesterday.
He's very full of himself. Ian Evatt, and I genuinely do not understand why he's so full of himself. Like, what?
He wasn't really a good defender, was he? If we're being honest,
he was all right. I mean, he was never,
If you compared him to Christopher Schindler, then
I mean, you'd never do that. Like, you can't compare anyone to Christopher Schindler. I mean, come on now. Let's not get silly. But he always just seemed a little bit full of himself, and some of the comments that he came out with,
laughable.
Regarding his players, etc., was like, what? Are you sure? But yeah, none of look, the players clearly just didn't like him.
I think they'll be up for this one. I think they'll start really fast because they'll just be up for it. Yeah, they've got no to lose. I think they've got no to lose. They don't know who the next gaffer is coming in. Like, it's a free hit for a minute, really.
Yeah, it was Barrow he managed before.
That was it. Yeah.
But yeah, he just it's once it's that new manager bounce. There's players there who are going to go, oh, glad he's gone. We can enjoy his football again now. Oh, Huddersfield Town, Sam, we can beat them as well. They'll believe it. Last time they played us, they did. I mean, it was in pointless trophy, but still, it was a victory against Huddersfield Town at their own place. They'll come to the John Smith Stadium going, let's go for it.
Rivethead with Charity FC. It's obviously 3 points to Bolton. Well, that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I understand the premise of that. We do seem to give other teams points when there's Zusak a manager. Yeah, and then we've got Birmingham on Tuesday. Everybody seems to think that Birmingham are now going to sort of go to another level, wrap up the league quite quickly come end of March, probably. I mean, how are you seeing the top four situation now, Kane? Because Matt Bloomfield's left Wickham, although they are still signing, decent players, to be fair. Wrexham are up there. Birmingham, and it's Wrexham v Birmingham, just to let everybody know, on, I think, either Friday night or the early kickoff Saturday. So that could be quite an interesting game too for anybody to watch.
You just don't know what's going to happen, do you? Yeah, no, honestly, I think it's levelled Wickham out a little bit by losing their gaffer, but they've still got some good players coming in, and they'll still be a decent force for the rest of the year. Wrexham, of course, will be in and around it. Town just need their strikers to start firing very quickly and not have these slow starts, which sometimes is slow until the 80th minute. So they just need to start performing a little bit better as well, and a bit more consistently. And if they do that, there's no reason why Town won't go up second. But the fact is, they don't always do that. The performance aren't always there. They are inconsistent. but they just grind out result here and there. And them grinding out results is sometimes it's just a point, and it's not good enough for promotion. I just want to see they need 3 points more than one. So I know Terrier 9:30 has put draw Saturday,
Yeah.
and God help us against Birmingham. That for me is quite a big comment, because look at the club that it's been spending. Look at the aims, the ambition of it. That comment should be, can't wait to get 3 points on Saturday and then another 3 points against Birmingham because we're at home. That's how it should be, because of where the club is and what they're doing. But do you know why that comment is like that from Terry 9:30? Because the town are so inconsistently poor and don't perform.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But it's so, and it's so obvious. It's so obvious to everybody that watches, but yet teams that come up against us still are scared of not playing properly. Apart from Blackpool, Blackpool are the only team that have consistently targeted Town's weak spots.
These two teams though will come and play against us 100%, and that might suit us better. To be honest, we have, you know, if you look at the statistics, we have played better against teams that do come out and play, rather than somebody like Burton at home who just, you know, keeper wastes 18 minutes with ball and doesn't. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, personally, I think we do. Yeah.
I tell you what, there's 3 teams that have come to John Smith Stadium this year that I thought played good football. Lincoln, Stockport, Wigan.
Yeah.
Stockport game was over after 40 seconds. Sounds like your evening when you miss this over in 40 seconds. So pointless for the rest of the game. Lincoln, Town were lucky to get a draw. And that Wigan game was so dull. I can't remember the score.
The Wigan game, we won 1-0.
Exactly.
Ollie Turton scored, I think. Did he?
Yeah, I forgot because it was that dull. And they're only teams that have come to try and play football.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but Town do genuinely, I think, well, over my history of supporting us, we do tend to play better against better teams.
Yeah, but Steve, we're not talking about history. We're talking about present.
I know, but you've got to get up for games. You've got to get up for every game, but you've got to get up for games against, you know, Bolton, who haven't been playing well this season. All right, they've sacked Everett, and then, you know, it's a massive game. It's a massive game Tuesday. You know, I mean, you've got to get up for that. I mean, yeah, tomorrow night is Birmingham v Wrexham, so that'll be interesting. This form reminds me of Lee Clark, 2011, 40 games unbeaten. Yeah, I do get that. That is a comment. We need to turn more draws into wins. And 930 100% agrees with your debating points, Ken. So there you go. You got another fan there that thinks that you speak sense.
Exactly, Steve. Look, just we don't do it buts or maybes. We just do absolutes on here.
Well, I'll ask you an absolute now, like I do every podcast. What's going to be the score on Saturday, and who's going to score the goals? And if you don't get it right, then you have to buy me a stick of rock the next time you go to Blackpool.
Next time I go to Blackpool. 3-1 Town, Taylor, Charles, goal scorers.
Okay. And Birmingham?
0-0.
Okay. That's fine. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win over Bolton, because I think, you know, stadium will be rocking. They'll come and play. And I just think we'll have more quality, hopefully. And then I'll go for a 2-1 loss v Birmingham. But to get 3 points, that'd be good against Bolton. I'd take 4 points in the next 2 games. I actually would. But yeah.
I love, by the way, Steve, I love the comments. Joe Blake Taylor and Mr. Earrings himself. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Mr. Earrings himself. Yeah. Yeah.
Steve. if it's 3-1 on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Taylor scores at least one. At the end of the season, can I pay for you to get an earring done just like Joe Taylor's?
No, that's not happening. Anyway, I'd just like to end. I didn't tell Kane about this in the agenda, but just a minute, Kane, on Dennis Law, obviously passing, this week. What a tremendous player he was. And I'm sure Town are going to do some tributes to him at the weekend, the Bolton game. Absolute Town legend, loved the club, and spoke very highly for us even when he went on to win European Cups and league titles with Man United. I think he always remembered the fact that Huddersfield Town made him and started his career.
Yeah, just what an incredible footballer he was, and my only closeness about Dennis Law is I used to play at a little town football club where Dennis Law played a couple of times with the Town Reserves, which Town used to own that pitch down in Norristhorpe, and they'd play the games there. And Dennis Law would play his games there, and I believe Matt Busby once came to watch him there. And he came to Huddersfield when he was it 15 years old? It was 1 year either way around there, and as a young Scotsman to try and work his way into the Football League, etc., and work his way up, and boy did he. And it was such a sad thing when we saw it pop up, and you go, yeah, Huddersfield Town legend who went on to win a Ballon d'Or, and it started at Huddersfield. For someone to have a career like he did, and it started at Town, it's just unbelievable. And yeah, it's a sad day for Huddersfield Town, for Manchester United, for Scotland football, and everybody associated in football. And I think you're absolutely right, Steve. We've not really heard too much about what Town are going to do, but I hope it's something that gives him a fitting send-off, a bit like it did for Frank Worthington a year or two ago.
And Ray Wilson, I think, as well, remembering the great Ray Wilson. It's what a legend of the game. And I always will remember and love the stat that when we sold him to Manchester City all them years ago, Town, in true Town style, went out and bought some floodlights to improve Leader Road. I mean, that you won't get that now, would you? Selling players for 40 million and improving like the floodlights. It just and those floodlights, by the way, if anybody didn't know, were actually named after him. They were therefore ever known as the Dennis Law floodlights. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. What a legend! From one legend to another, Mr. Kane Hall. Thank you very much for joining me on this Town Talk special.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me. I can finally finish off my tea now.
Yeah, it's not going to be cold at all. Thank you very much for everybody who's watched, commented, liked the video. We really do appreciate all the people that have got involved tonight. Without you guys, it doesn't make the show. So thanks very much for getting involved. We hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you all at the John Smith Stadium on Saturday, where hopefully Kane will get excited for the result and also his sticker rock. All right, see you later, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.